Hello everyone, today we will present about the death of the Gorage Florate. Here is our group members. And we will explain the part 4 parts. And the first part is the 5W and 1H of the article. The first one is the words. When African American Gorage Florate was arrested on suspicion of using counterfeit money, Derek McKeel Congmin, a white police officer, knew on Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes. Floyd lost consciousness while kneeling and was pronounced dead in emergency room. The next one is the who. That Gomes Floride, 56 years old, African American, born in Houston, Texas. The police, Cowie, who has been with the Minneapolis Police Department since around 2001, had 18 complaints on his record, 2 of which ended in letters of reprimand. And next one is which. Freud conducted 2 autopsies. The first autopsy official stated that the cause of death was caused by a variety of conditions. It may be due to his initial physical condition, and he died of the hypertension and atherosclerosis. The second autopsy, experts concluded that the cause of death was suffocation. And the next one is the where. The incident took place in the U.S. community of the Bullhorn in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And the next one is the when. At around 20 p.m. on May 25, 2020. The last one is the how. Director Michelle Congmin, a white police officer, knelt on Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes. Unarmed blacks are more likely to die at the hands of police officers than whites. And according to the NAACP, African Americans are incarcerated at more than 5 times the rate of the whites. And the next one I will to explain why do you think the issue got featured in the news. We have analyzed this issue from 5 news requests. The first one, timing. News is a recent event and has a time requirement. This issue is a recent and ongoing incident. George Floyd was declared dead on May 25. A series of the demonstrations against police brutality and police receipt starting on May 26 until now. Significance. This issue affects many people. The victim of this problem is African American. So African American is attract more. Countless people participate in the demonstration. Spearing from Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA to the United States and the world. The next one is proximity. The geographical distance and the audience are close. The main problem of the issue is also related to many audience. The protagonists of the incident are the American police and African American. They are the representatives of the American police and African American court. And next one is prominence. This incident is very prominent. Although the protagonist of the incident had only a few ordinary people in life, but these are the responsibilities of the American police. and during the American fraud. The incident itself was constituted on a series. And the last one, inner interest. This incident has attracted the attention of many people. The violent law enforcement by the American police and the incorrect killing of Americans has attracted people's attention. This event is closely related to audience life and makes the audience feel a lot of emotion, such as sadness, anger. So this incident has aroused people's interest and made people want to know more details. Okay, now my partner will continue to print it.
Okay, thank you, Chongmin. Okay, I'm Jia Yaw, and I will present about the possible issue that discussed in the article, and it will be mostly about a critical elaboration of the point, which is also related to the argument of George Floyd death. Okay, so first of all, how George Floyd died. How his death reignite a protest movement. What are the effects after the movement? These are the three main arguments that we need to think about to make sure why his death became a serious issue around the world. Before we interpret the deeper part of the issue, let us get some ideas about what actually is going on in United States during the day that George Floyd died. Okay, so based on the news launched by the Europe News website on 5th of June 2020, a worker at a grocery store in Minneapolis called police on 25th of May 2020, stating that a drunk man had used a counterfeit bill to buy cigarettes. After the police came, one of the police officers, Derek Calvin, put Floyd down and kept his knees on Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes. Floyd died because of the asphyxiation due to the neck and back compressions. His death has sparked protests against police violence and allegations of systemic racism as the action to remind people about the issue of racism around the world. Okay. Protests over Floyd death spread to the dozens of United States cities as the horrifying bystanders video reignite a conversation about police violence and racism against African Americans. Thousands protested in the cities around the world, including Sydney, London, Istanbul, Paris, and Berlin. Protests over Floyd death spread quickly to other major American cities in solidarity against the systemic racism in the country and the Black Lives Matter movement. Okay, so according to the words said by the former US President Barack Obama during a virtual town hall for the young people, the protests today are so different than those in the 1960s, which were filled by racial injustice, and the 1968 assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Protesters throughout the US this past week come from a far more representative cross-section of America. Former President Obama said, while explaining that the movement was powerful and transformative. These protests are also coming at a specific movement in history where a pandemic has caused millions of Americans to lose their jobs and more than 109,000 to die of COVID-19. Okay, so besides that, many protesters said they are fed up with injustice and comment made by the current US president, with protests turning chaotic outside the White House over the weekend. There was a comment stated by Josephine, said that Trump had inflamed pre-existing racial racial division in this country through an embrace of white supremacists. Trump's former defense secretary, James Mattis, wrote in a statement that he was appalled by Trump's response to the protest in which he called the protesters looters and threatened to call in the military. So he said that Donald Trump is the first president in my life that does not try to unite the American people, does not even pretend to try. Instead, he's tried to divide us, said Martins. Okay, the effect of George's death seems to be so huge, and his death also caused the percentage of supporting Trump dropped to a new low level. Okay, so next I will present about the example to support the argument I stated. Okay, why Floyd death triggered the attention of people? Okay, so the people noticed some sort of racial injustice. According to the video that circulated all over the social media, there was a lot of racial injustice in the arrest that led to death. They felt that the police treated him bad because he was a black man. They arrested him in an extra violent manner. In other words, if it was a white man, he won't be handled that way. He will be arrested normally without violence. Okay, next example is less concern from the police when the Floyd was screaming, "I can't breathe." Based on the video that circulated online, he was held to the floor and rough-handed. Floyd kept on screaming, "I can't breathe," but no one was listening to his cries. Even while he was saying, "I can't breathe," the police kept on pinning his knees with his knee. This triggered the protest because the police did not even value his life. People were so mad at the police because they ignored him even when he was screaming, "I can't breathe." And the next example is to create awareness to the government that equality is needed. The protest was triggered because they observed that the black community was not treated equally like others. They want the government to know that we are all one race, irrespective of the color of the skin. We only have human race. Creating the awareness could help reduce the ill treatment being given to the black community. Okay, so next I will suggest some way for a possible solution to this issue. Okay, so first of all, we should establish a complete legal cause to protect the rights of everyone. Because of the protection of the law, that most black people have a good life, will have a good life, which can alleviate racial conflicts to a certain extent. Okay, so next is education. Education is to educate citizens from an early age. Citizens of different skin colors, nationalities, and cultural backgrounds should not be excluded, but he required to have a common ground while resolving differences. Okay, so the other is to give all races equal opportunity for economic and cultural development in the term of law, public opinion, and community life. If the different races can have equal opportunity to develop their own economy and culture, so that individual citizens can be fully developed, then it is possible to eliminate racial discrimination. Okay, so the suggestion is a social activity should be launched, calling on everyone to respect and understand each other. Like Martin Luther King Jr. advocate the use of non-violent civil disobedience to fight for the basic rights of African Americans, and became a symbol of American progressivism. Okay, so the next one is equal development opportunity for the people of different races are also the key to alleviating ethnic conflict. Okay, so for example, although no amount of compensation can be excessive for the Native Americans, today we would rather see the Native American fully active in every stage of society rather than relying on the government subsidies and doing nothing but drinking and passing the time. In this regard, the US government should do more. Okay, so that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.